So today in the shop, I am making a knife handle for this kit that I've had lying around the shop. It came with some black pins, and I decided that I wanted to use brass instead. So I have a brass rod that I cut down to the proper size, and also some thin brass sheet metal that I cut as well and put in between the pieces of walnut. So the first steps in making a knife handle is actually tracing out your shape of the knife. I already did it on the piece of brass, and now I'm doing it on the wood. To make this easier, I'm using double-sided stick tape to trace it out so that the pattern will be the exact same once I cut it on the bandsaw. It looks like I'm cutting this really fast, but I did speed up the video on here just to kind of get through this whole portion. So I was able to cut the piece of metal with the scissors. So once I finished that, it was adding more tape and then securing that to the entire piece. So you actually, since the metal goes on the inside, take apart the wood, put the metal in between, and then put the other piece of wood on top. This kit requires 3 holes to be drilled through the material for the pins. This helps align everything together and holds everything on the kit. The best way to do this is to actually secure with double stick tape the knife to your material, to your wood, and then utilize the holes in there as a guide. Be very careful at this point and hang on to that kit very tightly so it doesn't spin with the drill press. After the holes are drilled, it's time to shape the front end of the knife handle. This is the area that is the closest to the actual blade, and it's best to do it before you put the entire kit together. After I'm satisfied with the front shape of the handle, then I begin to prep everything for the gluing up process. So I sand all of the brass pieces as well as the pins, and then I mix up my epoxy and start putting it together. I believe I used the quick set epoxy here, so it's about 5 minutes before it starts to cure. So you have to work kind of quickly, and because I'm working quickly, it's very, very messy, but it will all come off in the next step of sanding it together. So put all the pieces together, put the pins in, and add some clamps and let it dry. And then here's what it looks like before I start finishing it. So back to the sander I go, and I utilize this sander as well as my oscillating spindle sander to finish the project out before hand sanding it. This just helps me to remove material in a quicker fashion and to get the shape that I want for the edges of it and round the edges a little bit so that the knife fits a little bit nicer in your hand. The sanding kind of took me a little bit because the sandpaper that I'm running on my belt sander is just about shot. I had to clean it quite a bit and just recently ordered some new sandpaper for that, but it just hadn't come in yet to be able to finish this project. So it took me a lot longer to finish this, and I also realized that I am in dire need of a workbench because this sander is sitting on the ground and I'm leaning over it on a chair, which does not feel good. So I finished this project by hand sanding it and then taking my protective cover off of the blade, which I had it on the entire time I was making this knife, and use a little bit of acetone to kind of clean up the blade edge from where the epoxy kind of got onto that. And it was ready for finishing. So when I brought this inside the house to finish it up and put a finish on it, because it's too cold in the shop, I brought it in, showed it to my husband. The first thing he says is, "Wow, this is really cool. Fits in my hand perfectly." And I'm like, "All right, well then you can have it. Here you go." I had a lot of fun making this knife, and I think I will be making more and putting them up for sale in my Etsy store. So follow the link below to find it, and remember to subscribe to help my channel grow. Thanks for watching.